Hello everybody and welcome to a different kind of video. It has been quite some time since I have given you guys a non-audio related video, but I thought I was done making these, but you guys were very interested in learning about my new daily driver. Now, I posted a vlog a couple of weeks ago teasing that I am going down to Delaware to buy a new car, and I gave you guys a tease that it is German made, and a lot of you guys seem to be very interested in it. So here is a tour of my new daily driver, and when we're revealing something, we need the proper music. I need that music where we are opening up the treasure chest in Legend of Zelda, so just to give the proper tension. So ready? Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Here it is. Folks, welcome to a 2020 Volkswagen Golf GTI. This is easily on my top 5 favorite cars I have ever driven, period. Regardless of the fact that it is mine. This is hands down one of the best vehicles I have ever driven, and let me give you guys a tour around it. Like I said, this is a 2020 model year. It is the SE trim, which means this has upgraded leather seats. It has the upgraded 8-inch touchscreen, and it is, of course, red. I really couldn't go wrong with a red car. It's my favorite color, and it just looks amazing. This car looks so sharp in red. Let me give you a tour of the back. I love this, by the way. You lift up the Volkswagen logo, and that's the hatch open. And it's a little messy back here. I need to organize it because I am transferring everything from my now former car, which is a 2013 Ford Fiesta, to this. So all the stuff that was in the back of my now former daily driver is now in the hatch here. We got a very convenient hand slot right here to close the hatch. We got plenty of backroom seating to the point where I am sitting behind myself, and I have perfect amounts of rear leg room. Look at this. I can even put my feet up a little bit. I can relax. I can lounge back here. It's great. Move this water bottle and most likely a service bill. Got a rear cup holder right here. It's great if I have rear passengers, and this has a direct access to the trunk. That's pretty cool. The leather seats in here are extremely comfortable. We have a rear climate control, but we do not have any USB ports back here. But that's okay because I'm not planning on taking a lot of people in the back seat. Maybe my folks if we all go out to dinner one night and I volunteer to drive, but I don't really need a USB port back here. It's not important to me. And let me just give you a quick look of the cockpit here. This is a wonderful place to be. It's a beautiful cockpit, and it's a really nice place to be if you're taking this either around the corner or if you are taking this for a long cruise. This car seats 4 very comfortably, and what I love a lot about these seats is the bolstering. This is very comfortable. It folds right into your body and it glues you into the seat. So when you are driving along, you feel like you are planted in the car. This car had 1 owner, clean Carfax, clean title, and only 11,000 miles. 11,500 to be exact. And what I love about the fact that this is a 2020 is the Mark 7.5 edition of the GTI, which means we get a little bump in power. There's about an extra 10 or 8 or so horsepower underneath the hood. That's fine. But what I love is we get the customized brake calipers that are on the Golf R. We get the performance brakes from the Golf R and the limited slip differential that helps glue this car to the road when you show it some bends. This is a wonderful car to drive, and well, let's take you on a little bit of a cruise. Let's start her up. And with that, this 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine comes into life. And what I love is a 6-speed manual transmission. Joy of joys. I've wanted a 6-speed manual and I love driving manual transmissions over automatics. And as far as I can physically do it, I'm going to drive manual until I physically cannot do it anymore. Let's show you guys under the hood. And take a look at this 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. This TSI engine is, I believe, the 3rd generation of this engine that Volkswagen makes. It's extremely reliable. It boosts a lot of power for how small it is. The turbocharger is right over there. And as you can see, I mean, it should have a very clean engine bay with only 11,000 miles on it, but this engine bay is immaculate. The previous owner took excellent care of this car, and it just looks fantastic. I love the way that the front face of this car looks. I love the fog lights. I love the aggressive look of the headlights right here, and I love this red line. Always love the red line. So as you may have saw when I started it up, I need fuel. So I think right away we're gonna get into an economy test because I desperately need fuel. Now, I have driven, for context, I've driven 383 miles since the last time I filled up. I use premium fuel. I don't use 87. I use 91 or better. And we are in desperate need of some fuel because according to the car's computer, I have about 40 miles of range until I am out. So the turn radius of this car is incredible. Pulling up next to the post, and as you can see, it handles, it's a very tight radius, this car, around a tight spot. Now, I've driven this car about 383 miles since the last time I filled up, and I've done a good chunk of city and highway driving. So hopefully I get some good results with my MPGs. I'm keeping the shifts below 2,000 RPM, and I really haven't been giving this car the beans at all. So according to the car's computer, I've been averaging 36.5 miles per gallon, which is great. So hopefully the actual MPGs will give me similar results. All right, guys, we just filled up. We have exactly 11 gallons of fuel in the car. So our trip odometer is 384 miles, 384.3 to be exact, divided by 11, and we get an average fuel economy real world of 34.9, so let's round it up, 35 miles a gallon. Not bad for a turbocharged 4-cylinder that can give you 230-ish brake horsepower. Not too bad for a performance hatchback. I think the stupid and smart thing to do right now, what you want to see is a beans test. So let's give it the beans. Wait for this guy to turn. Or not. All right, 3, 2, 1, and... Yeah, she's fast. Let's talk about why I bought this car versus anything else on the market. So first and foremost, I wanted a hatchback. I didn't want an SUV, I didn't want a minivan, I didn't want a truck. I have always loved hatchbacks from the time of starting to drive. I can remember when I was 17, my very first car was a 1994 Dodge Intrepid sedan. My parents made me get a big car because they thought big equals safe. And to be honest, I kind of wanted a decent sized car too because I was one of the only kids in my group of friends that actually had a car. So if we were to go out anywhere, I would volunteer to drive, and we can all fit in my car. Not to mention, I can carry a bunch of stuff in it. So the 94 Dodge Intrepid was a good car, but as a kid, I would always want to drive my dad's 1991 Plymouth Colt hatchback, mostly because it had a 4-speed manual transmission, and I learned how to drive, period. I learned how to drive on a manual transmission. I took my driver's test in that Plymouth Colt. I've always been gravitated towards hatchbacks. I've always loved how they looked. I loved how they felt, and I never thought I would want anything else other than a hatchback. I loved 2 cars my whole life growing up. I loved hatchbacks, and I loved the Ford Mustang, and I'm very lucky right now where I own both. I've owned a few Mustangs in my life, and I've owned, now this is the second hatchback that I've ever owned myself. But anyway, back to the point. I did not want a pickup truck, SUV, or crossover for one very simple reason. I hate them. There's really no way to sugarcoat it. I do not like SUVs. I do not like pickup trucks, and I do not like most of the people that buy them. There's a beautiful video done by Not Just Bikes, I'll link it in the description below, that goes into way more detail of why SUVs and light trucks are really just dangerous for everyone on the road, and why most people shouldn't actually need one. I'll link it below, but it's a wonderful video. So the way that I chose this car is I broke it down into 3 separate categories. I had absolute must-haves, would like to have but could live without, and absolutely must not be. And these 2 sides of the extreme are deal breakers. So the one thing that it had to have is a manual transmission, and I didn't want an automatic, even though the automatic transmission in this generation Golf GTI is fantastic. The dual clutch transmission is spectacular. I did not want an automatic. It had to be a manual. And no offense or buts, I was not going to buy anything else unless it had a manual. So that basically eliminated 90 to 95% of all cars on the road. I wanted something that can fit any piece of cargo that I wanted to carry. I could fit my whole recording studio in here, no problem. I can fit all my camera gear, a bunch of stuff in the back, no problem. I wanted something that can handle all terrain. I have great all-season tires on this car right now, and the fact that I've driven my Mustang in the winter, in the snow, with no problems, and it's kind of hilarious when I see pickup trucks and SUVs broken down on the road because they can't drive in the snow. That's really funny to me. So this car being front-wheel drive, this does not have all-wheel drive. If I wanted all-wheel drive, I should have gone for the Golf R, but all-wheel drive is not a priority for me. Would have been nice, but I can definitely live without. All of my cars I've ever owned were either front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, so it really doesn't matter to me. Another must-have that I needed to consider, and I couldn't budge on it, was my budget. My total budget was $35,000. I had $5,000 to put down, and I was going to finance no more than 30 grand. Now, I have a new job, and the salary I make is pretty decent, so I'm thankful for that, but there is a possibility that it can go sour and I need to go back to freelancing. So I had to take into account the worst case scenario. Can I still afford to pay for the car if I lose my job? I have enough saved up and I have enough work with freelancing that I could still afford this if I lost my salary job. So that was another huge important thing for me. Another thing that was on my absolute must-have is it had to be around 10,000 miles or less. If I were to buy used, it had to be around 10,000 miles or less, or I would have bought brand new. Now, when I bought this car, it had 11,500 miles, and as you can see on the odometer, it has 13,154 right now. So I did put a few miles on this car, but when I bought it, it had 11,500 miles. It had one owner, it was garage kept, and this is now the second car that I bought from a retired couple. My other car is a 2008 Mustang GT, and when I bought that in Chicago, the previous owner was retired, and he bought that car as a retirement present for himself, kept it garage kept, it was mint, and he only had 30,000 miles on it when I bought it. But I got lucky with this car. The previous owner was an elderly couple. They bought this as their last hurrah putt-putt car, they called it. And when the dealer was telling me the story about the previous owners, tragically, the husband that did buy the car passed away, and the wife could not drive manual, so she traded it in. And that's how the dealer came into possession of the car. And I do know that an older person did own this car, because in the glove box there is an SD card reader that you could put in to put media so the infotainment can read your music library. And that SD card was full of disco music. So an older woman definitely owned this car. It was full of ABBA and the Bee Gees. It was like if my mother bought this car. So I think those are my must-haves. Now, the features that I could live or live without are all the bonus features that come with the top trims. So with the Golf GTI, there is the base S trim, the SE, which is what this is, and the Autobahn. The SE trim does not come with the upgraded sound system. Again, that would have been nice to have, but I can live without. The sound system in here does sound okay, with a little bit of EQ work from the console. Another very popular feature is adaptive cruise control, where if you put it in the adaptive cruise mode, it basically steers the car for you and it follows the speed of the car in front of you. Now, I have that on my work vehicle, and it's a really awesome feature. I like it a lot, but for living with and buying a car that has that feature, I didn't want to spend the extra money to have a car with that feature. I can live without it. And to take into consideration, again, this car, one owner, clean Carfax, clean title, and 11,000 miles. I didn't care that it doesn't have adaptive cruise control. This does have regular cruise control, and it has a couple of other features that I really like. Heated seats for one. I love the heated seats. These get very toasty. And my girlfriend, who is also a lizard and is cold 95% of the year, she liked the heated seats as well. This car does have adaptive suspension, so if you push the mode button here, you could change it from eco, normal, sport, and custom. And when you put it in sport like I did just now, you absolutely feel the difference in the response from the steering and the throttle. And the system pumps in a little bit of engine noise. I'm not really a fan of that. It is kind of tacky, but I do love the added throttle response and the sensitivity of the steering. I know if I went around a racetrack with this in sport mode, I would definitely feel a difference between this and normal. But for in general, I just keep it in normal and be done with it. It feels fine in normal. It feels great. So that is my would like to have but can live without column. Now, we only covered one in the it must not be this column. One is it must not be an SUV or a pickup truck or a crossover, which really that's kind of the only one that I had up there. But one thing that it absolutely must not be is a gas guzzler. And as you saw, this gets great fuel economy if you just drive casually. And there's one more thing that was kind of sort of teetering on the absolute deal breaker if it's not this, but really it's in the middle column, is a sunroof. Now, this car has a panoramic sunroof. It's wonderful, and I kind of would have been disappointed if the car I bought did not have a sunroof. I don't like using the air conditioning. I'm using it right now to have a clearer audio signal talking to you guys, but I really wanted a sunroof. And if you take everything into consideration, there really was only one car, brand new, that checked all the boxes. I was gonna go all out and buy a brand new Honda Civic Sport Touring hatchback in blue. It's a Honda, which means it's reliable. It's a hatchback, which means it's not a gas guzzling monster on the road. It drives great. I test drove one and it was amazing to drive. It had plenty of space for everything, and it was slightly over my budget, but I would have still been able to afford it. I just would have paid a little bit extra a month or waited a couple of extra months to save up and put more money down. But I was gonna go and buy a brand new Honda Civic Sport Touring hatchback. I love that car, and I was all set to go to the Honda dealer, put my money down and sign for it. And then just for the hell of it, I searched the used car lot because I remembered how much I love driving a Golf GTI, and this showed up within the first page and a half of results, and it was just listed, and I took that as a sign. I went to the dealer, test drove it, and fell in love. Signed the papers right there, and I bought it. And I'm glad I did because, yes, even though this doesn't have the adaptive cruise control and every single bell and whistle that the Honda would have had, I'm happy with my purchase because I'm getting this car financed for about 10 grand less than what I would have financed for the Honda. It's red. I love red. And this is above and beyond a better car to drive than the Honda. If you were to ask me my top 3 cars I have ever driven in my life, one, and I don't think it's ever going to be beat, is a Porsche 911 GT3. Number 2 is a BMW M3. And 3 is this. I absolutely love how fluid this gearbox is. I love how easy it is to drive. I love how effortless it is to push the clutch in and downshift gears. The brake and the throttle pedal is separated just enough where, I mean, a more skilled driver than me can heel-toe downshift this no problem, but I find it a little more difficult to heel-toe downshift than my Mustang, for instance. I can heel-toe downshift my Mustang much easier than this. Because these brakes are from the Golf R performance car, and if you even just slightly tap the brakes, they are going to clamp up and you are going to stop very quickly. So it's kind of difficult to heel-toe downshift. Again, a more skilled driver than me can probably heel-toe downshift no problem. Suppose it would be now, since we're in traffic, a good time to test the sound system in this car. This does come with Apple CarPlay via the one USB port. Now, some people may want multiple USB ports. This only has one USB port right here by the center console. Doesn't even have one in the armrest right here, or like I said earlier, in the back, there's only one USB-A port. It would be nice to have one more somewhere. We do have a cigarette lighter adapter where I could put a charger there that has multiple USB ports and charge stuff, but I only have one, and that's okay. This car does have Sirius XM capability, Bluetooth, AM, FM, and there is a CD player in the glove box, so that's pretty good. I don't plan on swapping this out for an upgrade system, but most of the time I am in Apple CarPlay, and that responds very well with the USB connection. So with that being said, let's do a sound test. system sounds really good. What I did end up having to do is adjust the EQ pretty dramatically. So the bass I had to boost at 1 out of 10. The mids are down, I think 4 or 5 notches, and the treble is down 1. This is a very boxy, mid-rangey stock sound from the entry-level speakers from Volkswagen. They do make a Fender sound system for this car if you got the Autobahn package, but the stock system sounds just fine. The best part about the purchase of this car is the fact that it's a 2020 model year, means I am still under the factory warranty from Volkswagen. I am under warranty from bumper to bumper powertrain until October of this year. And when I bought this car from the dealer, I got a bumper to bumper, anything goes wrong, you're covered extended warranty that covers this car for 5 years or 60,000 miles. So if anything even remotely goes wrong with this car, I'm covered. So I think we've done enough highway driving. We're in traffic. This is kind of boring content here. So let's pick it up when we get to where we are going. All right, guys, we are here in beautiful Asbury Park, aka the place where Bruce Springsteen was discovered. And what you're about to see is home to, in my humblest opinion, and I am absolutely biased because I am from New Jersey, this is home to the most famous music venue on the East Coast. But we are here to stop here at the Stone Pony, the most famous music venue on the East Coast. And it seems like there's a show going on here tonight, and look at this guy just performing out. I just wanted to get out real quick and show you guys this, because those of you who don't know of this place, the main building is right over there, but what I'm going to show you is right through here. This is where their summer stage is. I don't know if you can see it in there. I don't know how good the camera is, but I also can't see what the camera sees right now, but in there is where the Stone Pony does their summer stage. There's a side entrance over there, so when you go into the building, you can exit out to the main area there, and they have huge concerts here, to the point where people file in, fill up this whole lot here, they file out, and they put monitors up here sometimes so you can listen to the concert from the boardwalk. It's fantastic. And if anyone wanted to know where I want to work, here's a better look. You can clearly see the lot in there. If any of you wondered what venue I want to work at, this is it. If I ever move on from Dingbats, and if I ever get hired for another venue, I want it to be here. So if anyone from the Stone Pony is watching this video, holler at me. I'm never saying that again. Hire me. That's it. I just wanted to show you guys the Stone Pony. And I think it's cool enough now where we can lower the windows. So one of the things I really, really like about this car, let's go over a couple things that I really love about it. First and foremost, I love the fact that the infotainment and the screen is mounted into the center of the console, and it's not like a tablet thing sticking out right here. I am not a fan of cars that have the tablet sticking out look. I love the fact that the HVAC controls and the heated seats, they are actual buttons. And there's buttons here for the driving mode, the traction control, and a physical handbrake. I cannot emphasize enough how much I love that. The flat bottom steering wheel, great. And low-key, one of my absolute favorite things are the analog gauges. I know every car now is moving to an all-digital gauge cluster. I don't like digital gauge clusters. I say this even though the Honda Civic that I was going to buy has an all-digital cluster, and it has the tablet sticking out look for their infotainment. I didn't like that, but that's just a preference. I could have lived with it. But I really low-key love the analog gauges, and I think analog gauges are going to age much nicer than their digital counterparts. One of the things I really do like about this car, let's get out again, is first off how bright the LED headlights are. These are stupid bright and I like that a lot. But there's a feature that if I'm turning at night, there's another light that shines in a direction I am turning. Very clever feature. I'm sure a lot of cars have that feature, but I've never had a car with that feature, and now I don't think I want a car that doesn't have that feature, because at nighttime, it's very convenient. Before I close the door, I do love the fact that these door inserts here, first off, are big enough for 2 of your typical soda bottles, and I do love that it is carpeted, which means when I'm driving along, I don't hear any shaking or rattling going on. I love the sound that door makes too. It's a very nice quality sound. All right, so let's lower the windows and open this sunroof. Oh, he's playing a good song. In my life, my favorite Beatles song. So what I love about this sunroof is this cloth slide right here. If I don't want bugs to come in, but I also want the sunroof open, this acts as a screen. But one of the things I am going to like give some negative points on, Doug DeMuro calls them quirks, but I do not like the fact that when I close this, it does not stay closed. Eventually it will slide open to about here, which lets the sunlight in, and in the summertime when I have this open, it will let bugs in. So I just keep it open. One thing that I also did notice is, I'm sure you guys probably noticed here in the center gauge cluster right here, the compass is pointing north at all times. Even though the compass right here is saying I'm facing southwest. The reason for that is the compass is a part of the emergency module that if I push this SOS, it tells Volkswagen that I'm in a car crash or I'm in danger, and it uses the compass and the GPS to locate me. This also is where the Bluetooth microphone is if I connect my phone via Bluetooth. So even though my car connects via Bluetooth no problem, I cannot make Bluetooth phone calls because the microphone, which is right in here, is attached to the whole emergency control module or whatever, and it's once that's broken, everything associated with that is broken. So that is a few quirky things about this car and about Volkswagens in general, because those emergency control modules tend to break on this car. But one thing I really do like, by comparison, put in reverse, is the quality of the rear view camera. Now, I'm normally not a rear view camera guy because I turn my head and I use my eyes, but the camera is located behind the VW badge on the trunk, and when the camera is activated, it slides out from the back, so it's very clean. If you ever do come to Asbury Park, Silver Ball Retro Arcade, that is amazing. It has all the pinball machines you could possibly imagine, and I would love to live in this apartment complex right here. Because one, John Oates of Hall & Oates has a place right here. This is his summer home. That's the only famous person I know that lives here. And if I were to work at any other bar too, I would love to work at the Stone Pony, but this is another place that I would absolutely love to work at, the Wonder Bar. It's a very famous venue here. It's a smaller venue. It's meant for like small bands or singer-songwriters, but it is a wonderful venue, and I've seen a few shows there. Really, really good. The Asbury Park music scene is next level, guys, and it's not even Memorial Day, and there are people out and about enjoying the neighborhood. Wonderful. Oh, we got a car meetup going on right here. Hold on, I was gonna go to the right, but let's take a look at these beauties. Oh my goodness gracious. I think that's a C4 Corvette. Look at this. We got Chevelles, we got Corvettes. That's my favorite Corvette, by the way. That Stingray, this right here. That's beautiful. Wow. I wish I had my camera with me. I could take great pictures of these cars. Look at that. That is just beautiful. I love car meets. I wasn't expecting to see this, but here we are. Really, really nice. We are going to finish our journey in the beautiful town of Seabright, take a little cruise, ride along the coastline of the Jersey Shore, and enjoy the beginning of summertime weather here. It's technically not even spring yet. It's winter, and I have the windows down and the sunroof open. I love it. I either want it really cold in the dead of winter or nice and toasty in the summertime. I don't like these in-between seasons. I say that even though fall is my favorite season. I think overall, though, my favorite thing about this car is how diverse the car is in response to you. Like, if I wanted to, I can put this downshift in the first gear and just blitz this road. But this can also be a wonderful cruiser where I could take soothing drives like this. This car is one of the cars that can really do it all. No matter how skilled of a driver you are, no matter how aggressive or soft of a driver you are, this is a perfect car for you. And like I said, shift around 2,000 RPM, and this car will give you excellent gas mileage, a reliable commuter car, and it will do anything and everything you want it to do. I love this thing. I love the homes down here in Monmouth County. If I had the kind of money where I can afford these houses, I would live in one of these houses right along here. Just blocks away from Asbury Park so I could check out the live music scene, but secluded enough where I don't have a lot of loud people bothering me. It's fantastic. So if you were wondering what kind of gas mileage you could be getting with this, I am cruising very calmly at 35 miles an hour in fifth gear, and I'm averaging 75 to 81 miles a gallon. So like, if you're just cruising along in town, this thing will sip fuel. Since we left Wawa today, I am averaging 36.2 miles a gallon. 36.3. There we go. It's going up. I love the fact that the little screen in the middle of the gauge cluster isn't overloading me with information. It has everything I want to know right there in front of me, and the menu is simplified enough where I want to know, what am I doing here? What's this status? And it just gives me it. But like I said, guys, if you want a car that can do everything from simply cruising around town to just being an absolute monster, what better car than this? I love hot hatches. They are my absolute favorite cars. I say this as a diehard fan of the Ford Mustang and how much I love my Mustang. If I were to have any one single car for the rest of my life, it'd be this. No questions asked. I love the fact that the turbo kicks in at like 15 to 1800 RPM, and you get all the horsepower that this engine has to offer at such a low RPM. So this thing can pick up speed in any gear at any speed. To quote a great philosopher, what a machine. And we are finishing up our road trip today in the beautiful town of Seabright. When you think of the Jersey Shore, you think of Point Pleasant Beach, Seaside Heights, and a bunch of fake Italian Guidos who lift a bunch of weights and take steroids. But to me, when I think of the Jersey Shore, I think of where he just came from, the greater Asbury Park area and Seabright. And it's funny that this song just came onto my shuffle. If you guys haven't played the Final Fantasy VII remakes, both Rebirth, the one that just came out, and the first remake a couple of years ago for the PlayStation 5, you are missing out if you haven't played it yet. They're magnificent. Fun fact, in case you probably couldn't have guessed, grew up playing video games, Final Fantasy games especially, and Final Fantasy VII is among my favorites. And the remakes have been astounding. Just simply astounding in every way. So one final quirk about this car that I find very annoying is this has the Volkswagen rattles. It's in every Volkswagen, and it's in every GTI I have ever driven. There is, at some point in the car, at random, a body panel or a seat or an attachment that just rattles. And I'm sure you can hear it closely. It's coming from the back. It is the corner by the B panel where the rear seat is locked in to the hatch. So that is what's causing that rattling. I'm not sure if you can hear it. Not sure if you heard that, but when I go over any sort of bump, it rattles. And the only way to get around that is to either put tape in the latch itself to hopefully try to dampen it, or put the seat down and lose a back seat. That's very annoying. But other than that, I have encountered no issues with this car. I mean, I shouldn't. It's 13,000 miles. And this has been the third best car I have ever driven. Which it really isn't fair considering the other two are a Porsche 911 GT3 and a BMW M3. Cars that cost $30, $40, $50, even $80,000 more than this car. Where this car gets outshined by its rivals and competitors, it makes up for it by being a fantastic little hot hatch. I absolutely love how fast this thing accelerates. It will never ever get boring. I love the fact that if you downshift a second and you give it the beans, you can hear the turbo whistling. It's great. And then I can just put it in sixth and cruise gently. But I think we are going to end our road trip right here at Bars, because some of you may remember the electric Chevy Silverado commercial from the Super Bowl about 2 years ago, where Jamie Lynn Sigler as Meadow Soprano drove it from New York down to here. This is where she stopped off at. She ended up parking right along here where they had EV charge ports. Spoilers, they're fake. I think this is a good time to test the rear view camera. Oh yeah, you could definitely hear the rattle right now. And we are all parked up. I think I'll leave the sunroof open just because it's nice out. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I really fucking love this car. Okay, time to eat some clam chowder.